Oh, Math Gad, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be learning a lot and we're going to be improving our math skills. Before we continue with the video, guys, it's very important to me and for the Oh Math Gad community for it to grow. If you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and don't forget to share with your friends. Also, don't forget to turn on your notifications. Let's begin.
Oh my God.
Welcome back, everyone. So in today's video, we're going to be solving quadratic equations of the form x squared is equal to z and ax squared plus b is equal to z. So let's begin. So the first type of problem we're going to be seeing today is x to the power of 2 is equal to c, right? So in this case, we have an expression. We have x to the power of 2 is equal to c, and c can be any number. So c can be a positive number like 49, or it can be a negative number like minus 49. When we're solving these type of problems, you have to know that if the number is positive and you take the square root out of both sides, as you should, you always have to remember to put the plus and minus of the square root of the value of c. So in this case, we have x is equal to plus or minus 7, because the square root of 49 is 7. But you cannot forget about the positive and negative signs. Then again, we have the square root of x to the power of 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of minus 49. Now, before, we usually saw that the square root out of a negative number had not definite solution or real solution. But now we're going to be talking about imaginary solutions. So whenever we have this, we're going to write plus or minus, and then the minus 49 is going to be expressed as the square root out of 49 times I, because I is going to be the square root out of minus 1. So now the answer is going to be x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 49 is 7, and don't forget the I. That means that it's going to be an imaginary number, right? So whenever we have x to the power of 2 equal to a positive number, we're going to have plus or minus a number. And whenever we have x to the power of 2 is equal to a negative number, we're going to have imaginary solutions. So now, guys, the problem we're going to be taking a look at is x to the power of 2 is equal to minus 16. So again, we have x to the power of 2, and we're going to take the square root out of both sides, the left side and the right side, not forgetting that we have to put a plus or minus, right? So the square root out of x to the power of 2 is x, and then we have our plus or minus, the square root out of minus 16, right? The answer here, you have to remember that whenever we have the square root out of a negative number, that is going to have an imaginary number. So we are going to put our I. So x is equal to plus or minus, and then we have the square root out of 16, which is 4, and don't forget the I. Remember that the I stands for the square root of minus 1. Now the other problem we're going to be taking a look at is minus 1/2 x to the power of 2 is equal to minus 36. So again, what we want to do is try to leave the x to the power of 2 alone. So in this case, we do is that we divide by the minus 1/2, because the minus 1/2 is multiplying the x to the power of 2, so it's going to pass dividing. And whenever we do that, we have x to the power of 2 is equal to minus 36 divided by minus 1/2, and that's going to be positive 72, right? So now we're going to have a positive number, and we're going to take the square root out of both sides. So the square root out of x to the power of 2 is x, and then we have our plus or minus, and then we have the square root out of 72. Now remember, 72 is actually broken down by 2 in 36, by 2 in 18, by 2 in 9, by 3 into 3, and by 3 again into 1 finally. So we can express this as 2 to the power of 2 times 2 times 3 to the power of 2. So x is equal to plus or minus the square root out of 2 to the power of 2 times 2 times 3 to the power of 2. And that is going to be equal to plus or minus, and then this 2 and this 3 can come out of the square root, meaning that is going to be 6 by the square root of 2. Now in this case, guys, we have ax squared plus b is equal to c. So we have the first expression is 3x to the power of 2 plus 17 is equal to 209, meaning that what we have to do is that we again have to try to solve for that x to the power of 2. So 3x to the power of 2 is equal to 209 minus 17, right? And when we do that, that 209 minus 17 is 192. So 3x to the power of 2 is equal to 192, because this negative 17 passed to the right side, subtracting. Now, because we have a 3 multiplying the x to the power of 2, we can actually solve that by dividing by the opposite operation. So 192, we're going to divide it by 3, and that is going to give us an answer of 64, positive. Now, x to the power of 2 is equal to 64. If we take the square root out of both sides, we have to add the plus or minus, meaning that x is going to be plus or minus the square root of 64, which is going to be 8. The next problem is minus 5x to the power of 2 minus 19 is equal to 144. Now, we do the same thing. We solve for x to the power of 2. So in this case, we have a minus 19. We're going to pass it to the right side. So it's going to be adding. So it's going to be 19 plus 144. So minus 5x to the power of 2 is going to be equal to 144 plus 19, right? That is going to give us an answer of 163. Now, because we have this number right here, we're gonna do the minus 5 is multiplying, and it's going to pass dividing. So x to the power of 2 is equal to minus 163 divided by 5. Because we now have our x to the power of 2, we can actually take the square root out of both sides, not forgetting that we have to add the plus or minus. So it's going to be x equal to plus or minus the square root of 163 divided by 5. But because it was a negative number, we have to put the I. And because that expression cannot be further simplified, we're gonna leave it like that. And that's it, guys. So basically, remember, when you take the square root out of a negative number, it is going to give us an imaginary solution. So take that into account when solving these problems, and practice and replay the video until you get it. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Check out these other videos to improve your math skills, and make sure you click that subscribe button to make the community grow. Follow Math Gad in its social media accounts, drop a like, a comment below, and see you on the next one. Bye!